You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, and marketers, are you losing out on broken opportunities here? Are there things in your business that you should really be focusing your attention on? It's this 80-20 rule where the 20% of your effort that you put in is going to equal 80% of your results. With us today is a business coach from Metric Mentor Labs, Stephen Kopshaw. He is going to help us understand what's missing in our business, what opportunities we need to be focusing on so that we can level up into that next level of business. Stephen, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to spend some time. Obviously, we chatted just a little bit, and I feel like this is going to be a fun conversation. Hopefully, we can layer in some good business work, some good action items, but laugh a little bit at it too.
I appreciate it. And same here. That's what it's all about. You either need to educate or entertain. If you can do both, you have a winning strategy here. And that's what we like to highlight with our entrepreneurs and business owners that we have on the podcast. Now, our first question we always like to ask is about your entrepreneurial journey. What were you doing before? How did it lead you into what you're doing today?
Yeah, so the first business that I had, please don't for the government, I guess I'm probably past when this could be an issue, but while I was in high school, I actually started a landscaping business with one of my friends, and it was simply a way to go out and make money. The crazy thing is within weeks, like a month, we had 35 accounts. And I was a 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid making like $900 cash on a weekend. And it was this world of like, holy crap, I'm rich. Like, this is insane. And you don't realize how not rich you are at 17 years old. But when you're 17 with $900 cash, you're doing pretty well. So that was the very first step into entrepreneurship. Obviously, like life still happens. High school, you go to college. And when you're in college and the city and then getting home's an hour and all these things, you let go of doing the landscaping things. That kind of subsided, but that was truly my first step in, and it was easy. It was super easy, and I'll never forget that I didn't remember it was easy until I had to look back at my history and go down this road of like, what's everything out there that I can be focusing on to help grow my business? And that first lesson for you guys today is it doesn't have to be hard. And I didn't remember that. So as I moved from there, my first adult, call it business and ownership, was I opened a personal training studio in 2009. And if you remember, you're old enough for whoever listening, maybe not the best economy in the world. But I had just this die hard mentality that it was going to be successful so long as I provided the results for the clients. And lo and behold, it was. Through that journey, I became really confident and I was going to go open my next studio. And in fact, I found an existing studio, I bought it, and life was going to be amazing. I was doing $500,000 a year in one. Logically, I get two, should be doing $1 million a year. That was not what happened on any single level. And it was this first real big kind of kick in the gut that what I was dealing with is literally just, I was the system. I didn't know any better. In my first one by myself, I did everything. I was there from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., open to close on Saturdays, cleaned on Sundays. I just did everything. When you can't be in two places at once, and all of a sudden life got tough. So made it through that, and I won't bore with the details, but I started to understand in order to be able to get out of this, I had to systematize what I was doing and remove me as the thing and actually put SOPs, train people, give them the resources to win. And it was my first hey, you got to go be a leader and you got to be an operator moment. So second lesson for today is don't be the system, because that's not scalable on any level. But it got so bad that I was literally going to lose my businesses. And I remember sitting in my office building new Excel sheets on my sales process. And it's when I needed more clients, I was busy trying to create a perfectly organized Excel sheet, which in the moment made me feel good. I went to school for engineering. I was really good at Excel and I felt productive, but I was wasting my time and my businesses weren't being helped. I wasn't focusing on the right thing. So I'm going to get to that a little bit later, laying some foundation for you. But that was one of those hindsight 2020 kind of moments where, as I looked back to see when I overcame adversity, what did I do to get there? So as we kind of proceed on, I solved that problem. Eventually, over the first 5 years of my adult business ownership, grew to 4 locations, was doing pretty well, but still wasn't over the top happy. But it was hard. Like, I was tired all the time, all the time. Didn't work out, didn't eat well, didn't do the things I wanted to do for myself because I was just tired. And eventually, my mentor at the time told me to look in the mirror, realize that I was the problem. And it was this big ego kind of gut check of like, oh boy. Well, I started to learn what true leadership was. I pendulum swung in that earlier day to just be a really good micromanager, but I wasn't a leader. And I needed to move to leadership, which was going to land me in that middle. And over time, I started to work on those skills, ask for feedback, and become better at it. And I went from those 4 locations to 17 locations in the next 4 years. So when I talk about identifying what the biggest problem is and focusing on it, it can propel you like nothing else. I also went from 4 to 17 locations, and it was easier. I could work out again. I had a team that enjoyed working with and for me. I was able to go on vacations and do things. I even managed to deal with the fact that in 2017, I believe, the Cambridge Analytica scandal happened with all of the data for Facebook advertising. And overnight, all of my ad agencies basically shut down. Literally, I remember the email, hey, we're closing the doors and we won't charge you anymore. And I'm like, that's kind of fine, but I need leads. Like, I have 17 businesses and I need leads. And as we did that, it was one of those things where I learned now to be able to like build back on these things need to be buffered. I need to be in more control, and they need to be stuff that's sustainable, that's evergreen, that can outlast some of these changes. And it's not just a quick flash in the pan direct response marketing thing that's there. I'm not saying direct response is bad. I'm just saying it needs to be a part of a bigger picture. So I learned that, again, saved my businesses, started helping other people with marketing in their businesses because they were asking what I was doing. And then I had a CEO of a franchise say, I bet that I'm going to open my massage studio, so this was my 17th location, better than you can open a new one that you open. And I'm like, I'll take that bet. I don't lose. I'm from Jersey. I'll find a way to beat you. So without all the details, just the punchline here, on the first day, I opened with 185 paid credit card memberships. They opened on the 30th day. So 30 days after opening, they processed 63 credit cards. Not only did I win, but I smashed them. Like, almost 3x. And I'm kind of pissed that 189 was 3x because 185, I missed by 4. But I was so excited. I was getting a custom bottle of scotch. I was going to be announced in front of the entire franchise system, 450 locations, that I beat him. And I was going to get money back and everything like that. So I was completely stoked to get all this information and get all these things and really have my ego stroked. Craziest thing in my first real intro into business consulting was after the announcement on stage happened, this woman comes up and she's literally crying and in tears about how I've given her the confidence to go and open her business because now she feels better about putting her house and her family's life savings and things like that on the line to open the business. And I was like, the ego didn't matter. The scotch, none of that mattered anymore. I was like, wow, my impact leveled up high on the impact piece. I was able to do something that I didn't even intend to do. And that really put me on the course for business consulting because granted, you're selling a product or a widget that I can get on board with. So small disclaimer there. I want to help you win because you're helping a lot of other people win. And that's a really good feeling. So I started selling off my businesses, getting out of the brick and mortar ownership and switched over to doing consulting work. And I've had some stints within companies and helping other companies grow. Since 2017 was my first full-on consulting client that was kind of accidental. Experience in $100 million a year companies with hundreds of locations, all the way to working with people who are $15,000, $20,000 a month and just starting to really, I'll say, scale or grow and add team members and some structure there. So it's been an amazing journey, but helping businesses grow and double revenue, $5 million to $10 million run rates in 4 or 5 months helping businesses that are doing 10, $11 million a year exit for $50 million a year deals has become an amazing thing to be a part of. I've been able to learn so much through the journey, and it's really come from like, I just want to help you grow and accomplish your mission. So it's kind of accidental. And as I started down this road, I was like, I really need my cornerstone frameworks and the pieces that I'm doing and what made me great. And that's where it came to looking back and, oh, I have this landscaping company, and to make money, it was really easy. But then I bought two businesses and it wasn't easy anymore. Why not? Well, because I complicated it. Like I made it hard. Don't make it hard. Or, oh, I have this marketing thing to figure out. What do? I don't know. Go educate yourself on the problem that you're dealing with and go solve it. Like today I have a 2 Comma Club award because of the education I gave myself. It's pretty cool. I didn't want a 2 Comma Club award, but I like showing it off because it's front and center on the screen. So it's just been that piece where having the awareness to look back, look at my journey, look at those experiences, and how do I put it into something that I can package and I can deliver to other people. And that's really where, which I know we're going to talk about a little bit, my freedom framework was born. And the idea of freedom came from, I didn't have my freedom. I grew up very poor. I grew up literally on food stamps and double wide trailer, mother, drug addict, all these. And it's made me who I am today. But I used to just run from being poor. I had 4 businesses. I wasn't happy. I needed more, and more is what I was chasing because I didn't know what I was going towards. And in 2014, when my mentor asked me, like, what's the issue? What's the problem? You're the problem. Look in the mirror. And I really had to come face to face with that. It was an understanding that I needed to level up, but I also internally needed to figure out it's not about what I'm running away from. It's about what I'm running towards. And what am I running towards? I'm running towards freedom. I want to be able to do what I want, when I want, how I want. And I've been able to kind of smash the word freedom into a 7-step process of all my lessons learned. And that's kind of the journey in a really quick, less than 10-minute nutshell that got me here today.
It's a fantastic journey and very impressive. And I think the statute of limitations is 7 years, so I think you should be okay with the landscaping side. But it's something
Sweet.
we're always mindful of, right? I don't want to share.
You never know. You never know who's listening, who's going to like overly check today's P&L.
The IRS would like to have a word with you. No, they're fine. They'll be fine. But at the end of the day, incredible journey. You found when you needed to pivot, when things were working, when they weren't working, finding your focus, finding your drive, what's really going to be that next step for you? What do I need to work on right now? And then to take that from the brick and mortar, the 1, the 2, the 4, then 17 locations, to take it through that journey, that's incredibly impressive. But now you're helping other entrepreneurs unlock their full potential. But you've gone through it. You've gone through those obstacles. You've had the successes, but now you're sharing them with others. And now you mentioned this freedom framework. We had a chance to talk a little bit earlier about what that entails, but can you go through what that stands for and why it's so important for other business owners to follow?
Yeah, 100%. It's crazy to think that we don't have a formula in our business to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And I say that in the sense of we all know what 1 + 1 is. We know what 2 + 2 is. We understand that. And some of us, we can get to way more complex math. So it really is simple though. And it is formula in nature. So the freedom framework is literally the formula people need to go out and grow their business. If you take nothing else away from me, if you never hire me, totally cool. Take this thing, just don't say it's yours because I did trademark it. Take it and use it and go and leverage it. And the next 10 minutes can and will literally change your entrepreneurial career. And if you're listening and you're driving, like fine, plan to re-listen to this, but also same token, take out a piece of paper, take out a pen and just make your notes as you hear it. So freedom framework, freedom, the word has 7 letters in it. So it's a 7-step framework. Every letter correlates to an item. So F being the first step is filter. We need to have a process in place in which we filter out our world and what we are doing. I like to, when I'm standing in front of a room or on stage, take a chair or an object and put it in the middle of the floor. And I ask somebody to come up and tell me what they see. And every single time they focus on that thing and they tell me about it. And I'll usually ask, give me more. They tell me more about it. Give me more. They tell me more about it. Then I go and I stand by them and I'm like, okay, cool. But I also see that wall, those windows, the thing and all that. And they're like, oh, well, I thought you said tell me about the object. I go, no, no, no. I said tell me what you see. And everybody gets very surprised. And it's like when something bad happens or perception of it is bad, we focus hard on that thing and we lose sight of what's important. Those distractions come at us all the time. And that's just one of those ways that I can physically represent what is usually an emotional reaction to a distraction. So, step one being filter is, I'll say, arguably the most important step and probably the deepest step. And underneath filter is my profit per acquisition formula. Profit per acquisition formula is simple and easy. My profit per acquisition equals the lifetime value of a consumer minus my cost to fulfill on my promise to them minus my cost to acquire their business. Simple and easy. And if I said to you, listen, every single time you acquire somebody, here's how much profit the business makes. You now have, like, with nothing else, you are armed with enough information to be able to say, if I get $10,000 of profit every time I acquire somebody, to go get $100,000, I need to acquire 10 people. You're probably more motivated to find those 10 people. You want $1 million? Amazing. You need to go find 100. Go get it. And you're probably more motivated because now you see a path. But even more so, we use it as a diagnostic tool. So I mentioned those three numbers: lifetime value, fulfillment, and acquisition. When we sit down and we start to diagnose your business, what is the biggest opportunity that we have right now? And there's a lot of lenses you can use where what's the most broken? Which one can you impact the easiest, least amount of effort, the fastest? What one has the most room for growth? Is saving $20 worth more than trying to create an extra $100? We know the answer, but we have to figure out how to do that. And when we look at our typical KPI board, there's all these numbers, there's all these most important pieces of data, there's all the leads and the conversions and the process and retention and attrition and profit margins and all of that stuff, but there's no layer of importance. The three most importance from an operational perspective, don't put me against a CPA or anything like that because we're going to argue about some stuff. This is an operations diagnostic tool, but your three most important numbers is lifetime value, fulfillment, and acquisition. I can ask you the simple question, which one's the most broken, or however the frame is. You can look at those three pieces of data and tell me with reason and logic which one we need to focus on. Amazing. Once you tell me the one that we're focusing on, we push the other two aside and we ask a simple question. What numbers go into this number? Write that down. What numbers go into this number? So let's say cost to fulfill is the number we identified as the one that we need to work on. We really need to lower it. Okay. What numbers go into cost to fulfill? What are my operational costs divided by how many people am I serving? Two numbers. Simple and easy. Now we have two numbers. I get to say, which one is the most broken? Which one's the most opportunity? Again, whatever your perspective is, you're going to give me an answer. I'm going to say, amazing. We need more clients in there. We don't have enough clients. Our operational costs are fine. That's where they've been at. Okay. Magic number, magic question. What numbers go into the number I'm currently looking at? Well, how many, retention, ascension, we start to get those things, and you're going to have 4 or 5 numbers. And we just rinse and repeat that process until we find the one where we can't answer what numbers go into here. We've now found the bottom of that layer. And if you imagine, you build it out, you have profit up top, we have our 3 big KPIs there, and we start to add in all the numbers underneath. The base gets really big, where our top is pretty narrow. We're building a big triangle. So it's our KPI triangle. And we start to understand, what do I need to focus on? My filtering process is using this formula. Now we've identified it. I have no more answers. That's the most broken number in my business. Now let's go tackle that thing. Now we know with a high level of confidence that this is the thing that we're going to work on. So moving to step number 2, the R is relate. Oftentimes we identify, hey, I'm going to work on a thing, and then we go and like kind of work on it, maybe sort of, or hope somebody realizes that they're supposed to work on it. Well, if you've ever taken a CPR class, one of the things they teach you is you point at somebody and tell them to call 911. Relate is the exact same thing. Go through the process of identifying who will be bringing this thing across the finish line. And maybe it's you, but take that 30 seconds and go, yes, Steve, I am responsible for changing the outcome here, for increasing, decreasing, whatever the direction is. I am responsible. Chris, you're responsible. Other team members, somebody's responsible. Third step, E, educate. A lot of entrepreneurs love to spend their time learning and learning and learning and learning and still learning because it avoids the idea that you have to take action. I get it. I understand it. But we're going to educate ourselves about the specific problem we've identified. We're going to maybe provide education for our team members if we do have a team. We're going to educate ourselves or our team on the potential solutions to the problem, softwares, SOPs, whatever it might be. And then also educate on the potential outcomes. Can I get a 5 times ROI? Can I get this? Can I reduce times on that? Whatever the thing is, we start to understand and we educate ourselves around the problem. Nothing more, but make sure we understand, how do I solve it? What are the different things I can put in place to solve it? And what are the different outcomes I think I can produce? Next, E, step 4, empower. As business owners, if you have a team, you suck at empowering people. It's just straight up factual. I love you. You're not good at it. Let somebody go do it and make sure they get it done and leave them alone. Don't micromanage them. If you are a solopreneur, we're going to flop this one, and it's going to be more of a conversation around empowering yourself or giving yourself permission to fail. We don't do that oftentimes. We have to win or else we suck. And no, you don't. Like, you got a lot going on. It's okay, but we're going to use that empowerment so we can go at it full speed ahead, because we oftentimes will not try our hardest when we believe we're going to fail. So go take that action. Step 5 is define, the D. We're going to define what success looks like before we start solving it. So I've educated myself. I know what my likely outcomes and solutions are. I'm going to define what success looks like. If I'm currently spending $1,000 per person to fulfill on my promise I made to them, well, success is getting it down to 500, loosely. Maybe it's a little bit more depth. Maybe it's about the retention side, attrition side. It's the average spend per month side. It's going to be some number of leads and conversions. Like, you might have pieces to it, but you're going to define what success looks like. Not so you can go back and say, oh, I suck, I didn't hit the goal, but so we can spend that time to debrief and actually look at what happened. Did we educate ourselves well enough? Did we understand the problem well enough? Did we learn new things along the way that might be helpful for me the next time I go through this process when I'm working on something? Did I not look somewhere? Did I not leverage a thing? That's why we care about defining success criteria. Same token, if you smashed your goal, you probably didn't really push yourself hard enough. So maybe you need to think about that too. Step 6, the O, is optimize. Is there any resource that I currently have available? A system, a person, I'm already spending the time, something in my business that I can use to increase the output of whatever I just did, increase my ROI, increase whatever the thing is. Again, already have the resource. The M, step 7, is if I were to add an additional resource, spend more money, spend more time, can I increase my ROI even more on this item? Far too often do we don't want to hire, we don't want to do this, so we're just going to hire somebody to get it done. I might agree with you, but rarely. And we need to think about things where, if I'm going to go spend $50,000 on an employee, how much money should they be making the business at the end of the day? Except maybe like your assistant who doesn't truly produce money. But generally speaking, you're hiring an employee, 50 grand. I'm going to tell you, your formula needs to show me that they're going to generate $400 or rather $200,000 a year at a 4x whatever their base pay is. Otherwise, I think it's a bad idea. I'll probably let you whittle me down to 150 and do it 3 times, but we want to target that 4 times more. If you're going to spend $50,000 an employee plus the time to train them and the time to lead them, you shouldn't spend 50 to make 60, because the extra 10 grand's not worth it. And a lot of times we go down that road where we build these businesses where we're spending a bunch of time with people that aren't making the business enough money. I love people. I'm a people first person. Don't hire them if you don't need them though. So those 7 steps in hindsight, build the freedom framework. To really simplify this, we need to know what we need to work on. We need to educate ourselves around working on it, and we need to just go do it. That's just the cycle of what has to happen. Freedom framework is just making sure you ask yourself the right questions and you put those pieces in place so that way we can learn and become better. But stop learning too much, stop never learning and taking too much action, and stop guessing on what you need to be working on to begin with. And all of a sudden, things are going to grow. And if I knew this stuff 10, 15 years ago, I'd probably be further along than I am. But it took me time because I didn't have somebody to teach me these things. I had to kind of guess and figure it out. And you're listening to this so you can hopefully speed up and kind of crunch that time down. So that's the biggest thing out of Freedom Framework. It's asking yourself the right questions.
That freedom framework sounds like the perfect roadmap for us to find out what the problem is, how we learn about it, and then take action on it. It really is that simple. And I know as we solve for X and we are taking this small formula and we're actually making it larger, where in algebra, we're actually doing the reverse, but it's a very similar process. What goes into this? What goes into this? We're finding that common denominator. And until you can't simplify the equation anymore, you have your answer. And that is what you then focus on. And I love that you pay special attention to that, because that is often the opportunity or the thing that's broken that's going to be the most impactful for many other business owners. And you have these results. These are the results. You've rinsed and repeated them over and over again. You do them for other businesses. You've done them for yourself. This is what people need to follow. Take note of the tips and tricks that he's sharing here with you today, because this is what you need to get to that next level. Now, you already mentioned the piece of advice you would have given to yourself is the freedom framework in itself, because that's the roadmap. Now, are there any other mentors, podcasts, YouTubers, or any books or resources out there that you may recommend for someone else so that they can kind of get to that next level? What's that missing piece? What's that missing resource that they need?
Yeah, it's funny. And if you had asked me this question pre-2017, I would have had an entirely different answer. But today, my belief, and this is probably truly my real advice for my younger self in business, is go learn and understand marketing. Like, simply put, it's probably one of the most valuable components to your business. You'll hear a lot of people say sales is the most important, and I'm not going to argue with them. Like, that's the most important, and retention, yeah, that's the most important too. But if you want my honest opinion, having the ability to help people find you and find the solution that you have for them is an extremely valuable skill. I'm not saying chase down a 2 Comma Club award, although Russell Brunson would love me to. And maybe if that's your stick, go for it. But I did follow Russell Brunson. I did learn. I did immerse myself. It's not about the software. It's about the strategies and tactics you learn behind it. And that would be really that biggest thing. And I would tie that into who do I follow? I still actively learn about marketing. Probably it feels like the most fun topic for me. It feels like it's a gamification thing as well, because marketing, it's always changing. And you're looking at a bunch of data that makes absolutely no sense, but you're making your best educated guess on what tweak to do. And it's like, maybe I should change the headline. Well, I don't like this. And magically it performs 15% better. And you're like, I guess it doesn't matter what I like. It's what everybody else likes. And so for me, it's probably the biggest game. It plays into my engineering kind of number mind the most. And that would be the thing that I would honestly say, find a person who you can learn from in that space. If Russell Brunson's the right one, I truly do appreciate what he's done for me, what his company's done for me, but he's not the only one either. So there's a lot out there that might be more appealing to you. Understand the importance of a CRM. If you don't know what a CRM is, go figure that out. Understand the ability to collect lead information online. We don't need to go sell a bunch of things. We don't need to go crazy, but how do you build attention on social media? How do you collect emails for your email list and be able to give them some valuable information so they're willing to listen to you? That's the thing you need to solve and be aware of.
That's so important, that marketing aspect, is because many entrepreneurs are great at the skill set or the product or service that they offer. That's why they got into business. But that very important piece is the marketing piece of the puzzle, and very similar experience where I was in business, had some success, but realized the importance of marketing. I had to go back to school for it. Went to YouTube University as well. I got a physical, real accredited degree, but find the resources, the tools and tips that are going to help shape you and teach you those things. Because without the marketing, without the sales, you won't have profit. You won't have customers. And that is what you need to grow and scale. So at the end of the day, that's what you want to focus on. Now, Steve, we want to allow you an opportunity to share with the audience where they can find out more about you, get in touch with you, and start following your business journey.
Yeah, the best two places are going to be Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is a little more informative, and I'm giving you some information there. Facebook, I like to stir the pot a little bit and have some fun. So depending upon what you're looking for, you might choose a platform or not. Both of them, just search my name, Stephen with a PH, Kopshaw with a K, and you'll find me. And, let's connect. Feel free to ask questions. I'm always down for, hey, Steve, what would you do in this scenario? And just you help me, give me content ideas, because coming up with what to create content on is a challenge. So feel free to reach out on that as well. But that's going to be your best bets.
That's brilliant. I love that strategy. I follow quite a few Facebook groups and coaches, consultants. It's funny because I will mention a problem to them directly or mention in a comment, and suddenly it becomes a piece of content a few days later. And it's like, did you copy me, or did you realize that this message is going to perfectly resonate with the audience you're trying to obtain? Which is great. It gives us content ideas. We're just out there having fun. And I love that you have the separate channels. Instagram is more informative. The Facebook is where you get a little controversial. Maybe you're willing to go against the grain a bit. Again, I think we're all just having fun. Entrepreneurship, life, business, it's a journey. It's a marathon and not a sprint. Of course, we want to try to get from A to B or A to C as quickly as possible and as effectively as possible. But enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride that we're on, because you meet a lot of cool people, you learn a lot of cool things. And the more that we can help each other share that knowledge, the better it's going to grow everybody else. Now, Steve, is there any other advice or tips or tricks that you want to drive home with people that we haven't shared yet, or it's going to be so important for them to understand and know this? What should they be focusing on right now in their business?
Yeah, I'm going to hammer the point home on taking action, but understanding what you're taking action on. And I'm going to hammer it home in maybe a different way than you've heard before. But to me, the word action is really an acronym. It's not actually a word. Okay. That's my conspiracy theory contribution. But action actually stands for any change towards improving one's norm. So if you really think through it, and we think about the idea of change within that sentence, you have to change to grow and change your norm. Like if you keep doing the same thing's going to happen. And change can be go learning more about a problem, finding a new way to identify what problem to solve, taking more action, more swift action, having more urgency behind your action. There's a lot of ways that we can think about it, and I'll let you pull that in for whatever way fits your life best, because you know that best. But what at the core, my only ask is be willing to go change and make changes in your life so you can change whatever your norm is. That's the only way you're going to move closer to your freedom. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be 75 trying to earn money just to make sure I have a way to make ends meet. Like I want to be 45, 50 and like just enjoying the world. Doesn't mean I'm not going to work. Doesn't mean I'm not going to earn money. It just means I want to do it on my terms. And that's my version of freedom that I'm chasing.
I absolutely love that. And the acronym within certain words, I think is so inspiring. One that I like to add into it is FAIL. First attempt in learning. When you fail, it's just your attempt in learning. You're going to learn and grow from that and use that to become better. Use it as a learning experience and then go do it better. Try something different. Find the action that's going to provide the most results in your business. Learn about it and do it. That's what it's all about. Now, Steve, we appreciate the time you've taken to share insights and tips and tricks with us. We appreciate it. So excited to watch your business growth and journey as you continue moving along. Please stay in touch with us with any wins that you have, any tips or tricks that you find. We'll be following your social media for sure. Steve, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Chris, thank you for having me. It was great. Looking forward to sharing the journey, helping everybody out. And who knows, maybe a year or two from now, we'll be able to have another conversation and see what it looks like then.
That sounds fantastic. Congratulations. You'll be going from 2 comma, maybe you'll hit the 3 comma club at that point. Time will tell,
Yes.
but it's a great journey. Thanks so much, Steve. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.